What's going on, everyone? Kalen here. This essay is going to be in regard to a recent anti-Trump rally that I attended, and I'm going to talk about what I learned. As you all may know, the Trump administration has operationalized the National Guard on domestic soil under the guise of eradicating crime and aesthetically cleaning up cities, particularly democratic cities. And no matter what your views are on that, these recent events are telling of how the American body politic engages with the political process. We have to begin asking ourselves to what degree we hold political power and what we do when our methods for behaving as political actors are ineffective. What steps do we take to enact change outside of the agreed upon political process? And so, with that, the name of this piece is I went to the anti Trump protests, and this is what I learned. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. As you all know, that helps with views and engagement. So, let's get into it. Today, what typically passes for thought is little more than an incessant stream of auto generated self talk in our heads. This isn't thinking. This is more akin to ruminating, allowing ourselves to be relentlessly and emotionally worked over by thoughts we half entertain and never question. An example of real thinking is, who else is going to discount my fish if I get to the Publix and the sassy 60-something-year-old hunchback hippie lady with faded tattoos from a 1971 prison bid isn't there? This is thinking. However, while this is an admirable use of your brain's daily capacity for inquiry, you should travel a bit further down the river to discover an even more useful brand of thought, something I'd like to call transcendent thinking. This type of aware thinking requires us to intentionally excavate our internal and external worlds. It is often a slow process characterized by perception and analysis, deep inquiry and application of practical theories across a range of test cases, further rounds of inquiry, and so on. This kind of thinking appears to be rarely practiced, yet I know I'm wrong in this assertion. People are thinking, desperately thinking, more than ever, but about what and under which assumptions? Scholars, politicians, lady church groups, overzealous Greta Thunberg types, and myself as I write this are all thinking, yes. What psychological or moral principles guide our processes of thought? Do we know what foundations support our reasoning? If not, then we are at the mercy of whatever whimsical phantasms come to our minds. So-called thinking, at least for most, revolves around repetitive consideration of more or less base phenomenology, i.e., food, clothing, shelter, romance, sex, tribal identity, and so on. These features of human existence are worthy of our attention. However, to be continuously engrossed in them is to threaten our potential for transcendent or liberatory thought. Considering all of this, here's a bit of a thought experiment. Ask yourself to what degree you seek individual pleasure, self-aggrandizement or status, and material acquisition. And now, consider your degree of concern for communal prosperity, your surrounding natural environment, and the course of history, that is to say, the future. Your answers will reveal the quality of your thinking. I'm not writing to criticize anyone for what they think about, but to remind us that we can both become aware of what thoughts we entertain and select the ones we wish to focus our attention on. Two things are true. One, thought is still the greatest power we have. And two, we inhabit a world designed and run by the cold efficiency of automated processes, which have in turn been created by selfish, fearful men and women. Such a world asks us every moment to outsource our thinking capacities to these automated processes and wayward men and women. The result, if we continue to do this, is certain destruction, perhaps not instantaneously, but no less certain. In order to combat these nuisances, our thinking must ultimately manifest a new society, one predicated on optimal living for all. We have to honor our impulses to argue for the changes we wish to see. Now, when we talk about creating a new society, or changing the way our societies run. There's an ongoing debate between reformation and revolutionary overhaul. Typically, we've had the study of revolutionary Marxists who see a massive overhaul of society, whereby the means of production are redistributed to benefit more people. And historically, you can read about the Russian Revolution, you can read about Mao's Cultural Revolution, and you can understand maybe some of the apprehension against Marxism given those political scenarios. And then on the other hand, we have what we call the social democratic state, whereby reforms are initiated, written into law to give people incremental changes that seemingly better their lives. One example might be prison reform, prison adjustments. Another example might be taxation practices, where people are able to keep more of the income that they make from jobs. Others might be in the field of education, where students are allowed to access more loans, or where businesses are able to get more funding. These types of incremental changes in a social democratic system give the illusion of progress. And so, given these two competing ideologies, I'm asking us to step back from both of those and ask if we can create something else that isn't dependent upon a traditional governmental system, something where people can organize themselves based on the context of what they need. Given a certain situation, we may have a certain hierarchical establishment of leadership and workmanship that isn't permanent. It morphs and changes with the needs of the moment, right? And so we're not always beholden to some oppressive system of governance or some entrenched, established ideas of how society should be run. So I'm asking if a more spontaneous, moment to moment arrangement of social cohesion can occur. By honor, I mean spreading and campaigning for our ideas, not through the polls. We may not be right, and our ideas may be rough around the edges, but they need to be heard. I'm advocating for aware human beings to make suggestions, offer potential solutions, and create think tanks that wish to tackle incessant problems independent of state apparatuses, which are typically under the control of moneyed interests, because violent revolutions occur when people wait to act, when they have become so fed up that they feel no other recourse save for physical aggression will suffice. Our capacity for creative, nonviolent political action runs deep within us, as David Wingro and deceased anarchist professor David Graeber suggest to us in their enlightening book, The Dawn of Everything. Remember this the next time you see a government deploy their military against the domestic population, antagonize the world's nations with savage economic practices, or aggravate race and ethnic relations in the name of political maneuvering. In short, transcendent thought is what it takes to reverse our current course. Clear, unabashed, direct, transcendent thought, laced with the convictions of love and a cohesive existence for all life on the planet. Thanks for listening. Again, you can check out this piece on Substack, and you can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the piece, the ideas laid out here. Let's keep this conversation moving forward. Peace.